Still have moderate to severe Crohn's disease symptoms after...
Okay, I have everything slightly set up. Give me a second. I'm going to be pinning something to the top of the chat. Okay, hold on. Give me just a second. I want to... Hello, Magni. I did get started on like the brief sketch before stream, so there is that. For some reason, I got a notification that I got a new follower, and for whatever fucking reason, it doesn't show up. It did not want to act like I got a new follower on Twitch, so... For whatever reason, either they followed and then unfollowed, or, as weird as that's gonna sound, but, like, yeah, something, it's been kind of glitching out lately, but yeah, Thunderbolts is coming out, and I wanted to do... fan art of that. Okay, so everything's working on the Twitch and YouTube side. Right, nice. Yeah. This is going to be a multi-stream, so hopefully things are working like they're supposed to. I figured I wanted to do something a bit different today, so I'm going to be trying to do something that's a little bit unique, trying something new. So yeah, I'm going to be working on the Void first, so you guys will see me working on this. And I'll be talking about some stuff, just kind of chatting. It's like kind of be just a drawing fan art stream, and I'll try to be working on things best I can. Yeah, that's really about it. I am gonna have to put the link to the stream on the Twitch side. Hold on my Twitter. Hold on. And also Thunderbolts. Working on MCU Fanart Live. Because why not? There we go. But yeah, just gonna be working on that today. It's gonna be on the Twitch side and the YouTube side. I'm hoping, if you're curious why the Daredevil video is still not out, blame Michael.
I was hoping to get that video done and edited, but I have it like mostly there, but I'm waiting on him to finish stuff up on his end so I can add the grids and completely finish up everything. So yeah, I am planning on seeing this movie. I don't know when. I have General Grievous. Greetings. Oh, yes, the Grievous. Welcome. Honestly, ironic, and that's ironic, because it's ironic for General Grievous to show up in the chat. It's a great movie. Thunderbolts, yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but actually, it's ironic that you come in the chat, because I just saw Revenge of the Sith the day before yesterday. It may have legitimately opposite from the dark hole. Yeah. That's because I'm not joking on that. I went to go see Revenge of the Sith with my father in theaters. And because I've seen the movie, I believe, like on the smaller scale stuff. But I I just saw the movie recently, and I saw it on the big screen. It's just as epic as I remember. And here's the thing. I know the prequels get a lot of crap, right? I just like with the MCU and stuff and like everything. Personally, I personally believe that the idea of, you know, stuff, you know, I still find it foolish, what? I still find it foolish that, for them to release the Mando movie 3 weeks after Doomsday. Well, honestly speaking, I don't care. Like, Doomsday is one of those where it's like, I'm hoping it's good, because we're finally getting back on track, and that's a big reason why I put out the poll that I did today about like how if I was to rewrite the if I was to do a video on the main channel or on a separate channel or whatever, rewriting and tweaking the MCU's recent phase, like the shit phase of the MCU, basically. How would I do it, and would people want to see that? Because personally, some of the stuff, like, as much as like the MCU's shit phase gets a lot of, you know, crap, personally, I don't have problems with all the projects in that. I feel like there's a lot of clutter and there's a lot of stuff that's not connected very well. And some stuff just feels like it doesn't know what it wants to be, and it doesn't know what it's doing. And for me, honestly speaking, I personally would want to rewrite and tweak stuff just to make the MCU feel better to some extent. Because I feel like, yeah, there are 2 posts of the credit scenes. Yeah, I'm aware. I'm not gonna. I don't. No spoilers. I haven't seen the movie. I'm drawing fan art based on intuition, and the only thing I wanted to have like leaked and I wanted to look at was like I wanted to see what Sentry looks like. So I'm gonna be trying my best to draw him a little bit later, and stuff. Yeah, I will not spoil it. All right. But I may be heartless machine, but I do not. Yeah. Ha ha ha. But no, I do feel that the MCU, as of right now, and this is a video all on its own. That's a topic that maybe I want to talk about on like a Comic Central channel, sometime in the future. Where I feel like fandoms and stuff kind of ruin, you know, the comics media, And this is a topic that's hard to talk about. Mainly comic book YouTubers and mainly comic book YouTubers and fandoms ruin stuff. And it's not centrally going against every single comic book YouTuber and saying they're all bad and they're all pieces of shit and whatever. No. And it's not me saying, just because they don't believe the way I do. That's not the point of that I would make. It's the problem is with you can't win when it comes to fandoms and the YouTuber side of things, because it's you're getting the constant bit of BS on all fronts is where my central point would lie. It's if there's diversity or there's this, it's woke. It's bad. If it's too right leaning or too this, it's also bad. And if it's and if they can't get what they want, it's bad. It has to be what these people want and this stuff. And it's it's been this way for a while, and it's a topic that I wanted to talk about in a video. And I didn't want to BS around it if I was to talk about it. I would want there to be this sense of because I'm not going after and targeting specific YouTubers or any individuals or stuff like that, but it's it's a topic that I feel needs to be discussed in a way that makes sense for people, and it's not just me going after it. I don't want it to come out like I'm going after YouTubers without some sense of you're a piece of shit, you're because you're gonna get that in a video without people even watching it. They're not even going to give it a second thought. And I feel that's, if I was to make the video, that's what I'm gonna run into. That's what and I don't want that, because it's happened for the longest time when it comes to fandoms and gaming stuff and just in general properties. It's happened so much where there's this level of bias, there's this level of it's hard to really put it into words, because if I put it into words, it's gonna come off in a way that it doesn't, I don't want it to. Because this is a topic that I really want to talk about, and I want to just put it out there and see if people would agree, or And I feel I would probably get a lot of flack for it, and people wouldn't even watch the video. They would just be oh, you're hating on my favorite YouTuber, F you, and I'll get death threats and a bunch of other crap. And I don't want to be resulted into a comic book YouTube channel or going to do that, because I don't feel that would be my main shtick. And I feel if I was to do that, it would have to be it would have to be as a partnered effort with other people to run the channel, because I would not want to start something new, mainly because I have so much going on already. And also, it would be a topic that's it would be very tricky to navigate in a very positive way, because it's it's one of those things where it's no matter how you approach the specific idea of, like, if you go after the fandoms and you basically say, oh, well, fandoms are bad, that's not the idea of, or the principle of what I'm saying. What I'm trying to get at is more the idea of, you know, how fandoms behave and how toxic, and like how extreme is basically the logistics of it. How extreme has it gotten with like how people come across and how they behave, and also it's like a never-ending battle. And you got this way doing this one doing this one, and it's like, and the other thing is that everyone has the right to their own opinion. They have the right to express that opinion. That's not the problem. The problem that I have is that there's so many opinions going out there, but like you can't validate everyone's opinion. But when you're specifically kind of like going on this idea of looking at how fandoms have become, like it becomes this very toxic mix, especially when it comes to like the idea of big YouTubers getting involved in things. And you can see that a lot. Like you see it a lot, especially on Twitter. And it's a very, it's one of those things that I really feel like I would want to talk about it in like this very neat formulated stuff. Ha ha ha. But it's a very difficult topic that is very difficult because because in some aspects you can't win with people. Like you're gonna immediately, you know, have people like they'll take it and then spin it to their own narrative and then get you into a hate campaign against you, and then you're getting harassed, you're getting doxxed, you're getting screwed over. And I feel like that's something that I would want to avoid. But it's like if I approach that topic for a video, that's what I'm gonna deal with. It's one of those things where I feel like, especially when it comes to like how you approach the overall subject, you don't, if you're just sitting there going after, and like you have like people that'll say, oh well, you're just doing this because you're on the woke side, you're a woke loser, you're the, no, that's not the point. The point is calling out how toxic and how bullshit fandoms have become recently. And the problem is that nobody's really willing enough to sit down and look at things for face value and look how bad they've become. Because it's the same problem with politics when you look at it from all points of view. One side goes and becomes very extreme and toxic, so the other side goes even worse. What was that? It's really immature. Yeah, exactly. And that's the problem, is that if I was to do the video on the subject as a whole, it's going to be one of those that is like even calling out the bigger YouTubers as well. And that's and like, and my problem with doing that would probably be that if I do, I'm signing my own death warrant. Because that it's only going to formulate the idea of how toxic fandoms have become. Because, like, in general, when you look at things for, like, face value, and you look at, like, there's the left-leaning side of things, and there's the right-leaning side of things, and there's the people that are just very toxic, and then there's, like it's not just in the idea of the comic book and movie fandom. It's the idea of this going on for so long, and nobody's willing to actually look at the landscape and look at things for how they are and say something. Because, like, I've noticed it a lot, especially when, like, Devil May Cry came out. And I was looking at a lot of the complaints, and a lot of them were valid. But a lot of them were just calling the show trash and not even giving it any sense of, like, you just went in to shit on it. and like how they illustrate their points, like, you know, more goes into an insulting way and comes out like just being a dick, which, you know, at this point that's to be expected with, you know, a lot of YouTubers. But like when you look at it from like how toxic and how bullshit fandoms are, like I personally believe that it's gotten worse, but nobody wants to fucking say anything because, you know, if you do, you're gonna get the bullshit. Yeah, most fandoms really don't even try anything. Yeah, well, some do, though. That's the problem. Like, a lot of people do. Especially if, like, you're calling out also the bigger YouTubers and stuff like that. And that's usually how it goes. And I feel like this is a topic that would need its own fleshed out video, and it would need something to really kind of express it in a way that's like easy for people to like get at it and like be like, okay, maybe he has a point. Like maybe there is something wrong here and it's not him, and he's not like, cuz like the knee-jerk reaction, if you're calling out like a big YouTuber as well, that their fandom will have your head. If I was to sit there and make a comic book, you know, like a topic kind of calling out the fandoms for their bullshit and also calling out the YouTubers for their bullshit, those YouTubers in question would probably get the video and spin it to their own narrative. Or their fandoms would get a hold of it and they would skewer me. Because here's my thing, is that nice YouTubers can be nice all they want to, but some actions speak louder than words. And like the smallest stuff, when it comes to the platform of like YouTube and stuff, it becomes fake. Fake it till you make it. Build on your personality, build on your brand. Like your YouTube personality, so to speak. And it builds on this idea of like building on this fake face. And that's kind of devastating to some extent because you have to not really be yourself. I feel like most YouTube fandoms have a little bit of from the relationship. Yeah, but I also feel like there's a side of like YouTube fandoms that are just crazy and nutcases and fucking weirdos. And it's everywhere. Like, I'm not sitting there just calling out the idea of YouTuber fandoms or comic book fandoms. I'm calling out the idea of all of it. Because it happens all the time in every single idea of the fandom. Or every single fandom. And it's one of those things where I feel like you can't win. Because if you call it as you see it, if you like, you're just woke, you're this, like, I'm so sick of that word, by the way. I am so sick of that word because it's been bastardized and used for every goddamn thing to the point where it has no meaning whatsoever. That's literally what it is. It's used in titles on the right-wing, comic book front so much that it has lost every sense of meaning that it used to have. Like, if I can understand if, like, certain projects are, like, the Snow White projects or stuff like that, the stuff that literally fits that mold, I can understand. But on another front, it makes no sense when you have just regular basic movies or regular basic projects being called it for no fucking reason other than you can. Like, why? Why? What is there that's so bad? And to add that level of, like, insultingness to it is that there really shouldn't be this sense of every project being labeled as that word if it has some diversity in it, if it has what's going on. Now, I can understand if it's forced. If it's forced or you feel like this or that, then fine, whatever. But it feels like some of these people use it just arbitrarily just because they don't like something. It has something they don't like, so, it's automatically bad. It's automatically, I can understand if, that to some extent, because, if you really look at things from face value and you look at, it's just, it's getting to a point, and it's the same way on the left-leaning side, too, on the comic book people. And it's in that way for fandoms so much where you can't look at things for how they are and sit there and act like it's okay. Because you have the crazy Snyder fans, which, people meme on them a bunch, but, their behavior is just terrible. The problem with those fandoms is mostly the gatekeepers, or they don't want to hear anything bad. Exactly. And that's my point. The gatekeeping. Nobody... Fandoms are used to, unless it's something really bad in the fandom, like something pedophilic or, other stuff and stuff like that, I can understand gatekeeping that and keeping that away, because that, you can understand that does not need to be there. But on another front, when you look at it for how things are, and you look at, okay, well, what else, the other problem is the gatekeeping and the idea of, in general, that it should be the exact way that these people want it, and it shouldn't change. It shouldn't be, it shouldn't be more diverse. It shouldn't be this. It shouldn't be that. This should be this. It shouldn't be, prime example is ranting for vengeance. And this is one of those things where it's oh, well, people agree with him. A lot of people can't stand him. I personally can't agree with someone making blatantly racist takes. But basically, when you make the argument that only person that can be Captain America is Captain America because he's white, that is a dumb fucking take. It's if you're going to make the argument, well, why can't Bucky be Captain America because, well, he was Captain America in the comics because he's white. We don't need no. It's not, that race should not be a benefactor of why a character cannot be a character. Now, as long as the character is played well, long as the character is done justice, that should be the reason why they, certain things. That was the problem that I had with Brave New World as a whole, is that it did not give any reason why Sam Wilson would be a good Captain America. I was just about to say that. Exactly. Is that if, it's this thing of it's, I can understand why people don't like it if a character, they decide to switch their race when they weren't that way in the comics and stuff like that. That is perfectly understandable. If you were to just switch Wolverine and make him black, or what they're doing with Snape right now and other stuff, I understand why that can be frustrating. Especially if, you're promised a very lore-accurate stuff. But the thing is, when it comes to, most modern takes on characters and stuff like that, the MCU as a whole and as it is was never really one-to-one with the comics in the first place. No modern adaptation ever was. The Fantastic Four, the original Spider-Man movies, a bunch of stuff wasn't. Hold on, let me check. As long as they're done justice, I don't care what race, but I don't like force. Well, yeah, exactly. As long as they're done justice, that's fine. But if they're not, then, it's whatever. And most people had problems with other characters that weren't race swapped not being done justice and not being played very well and stuff like that. Like Nathan Drake with Tom Holland and stuff. he was in everything. He doesn't really need to be Nathan Drake as well. It's like it's not the problem isn't that he can't do it. It's just like it doesn't feel right. It feels off. And other stuff. It's like it's one of those things where there has to be a bit of a balance, because there's a lot of black people that find it more insulting when they just race swap stuff just because they can. It's like, if the character was this way, why change that? It's like changing Black Panther from a black person to a white person. They would have an uproar. And they would go fucking ballistic. And I completely understand that sometimes when it comes to characters, hi butthead, on the YouTube front, that they have to go in with what actors have a popular fandom. You can't get someone like, you can't do what they used to do with like Christopher Reeve. You can't do that anymore. You like find someone that could play and almost look like the specimen of the comics. That's not always the case. You can't find that always as much. So, like, when people want to make the argument about the Fantastic Four, and you look at, like, oh, well, this or this or this or that, I personally don't have a problem with certain things. Now, it depends on how the character is portrayed, because Reed in the comics, or Reed in live action, has been played by multiple different people. And the prime example is like the Fantastic Four Fox universe. He was played by a good actor that looked somewhat like Reed Richards, and he tried to play him smart. The problem was that there was no chemistry between him and Sue Storm. There was nothing. Not anything. You couldn't feel it. All it was pretty much a very hot actress, very nerdy dude, and they screwed up Doom. That was another thing. And then you had Fantastic Four stick. That was it. Same thing happened again. Same thing. But it was so much worse. So it can happen regardless of the character being slightly changed. Because the thing is, you have to sometimes work with the actors you have at your disposal. And it shouldn't mean that you should just discount them and say fuck them because they're not exactly what you want. Because there are characters that are voiced in like the animated side of things by very diverse amounts of people that aren't the exact, they voice the character in a sense that you, regardless of what they look like in real life, you can actually see them as the character. Kevin Conroy had the perfect voice of Batman, but he wouldn't be able to play a live action Batman. I'm sorry, he couldn't. Because of the way Batman is built, the way that he looks with his black hair and a bunch of other stuff. But he had that very natural voice, and that's why animation is so important. But when you're looking at live action, and it shouldn't be a worry. Sorry. No, you're good. Exactly. That's another thing. It should not be a worry as much. Unless, keyword, unless the character is built on the idea of very specific features. If they decide to change Mulan to a black woman, then it would be an uproar, because that is not the character. That is not that is a specific type of character. It's the same thing that you would reverse things a little bit. And the whole idea of the natural idea of creativity is doing something experimental, doing something different. Now, does that always work? No. Keyword elementals. It doesn't always work. But sometimes, keyword, it can. It depends on how it is done. If it's just done for the sake of changing stuff and messing around with stuff and just doing stuff arbitrarily just because you can, then I can understand why a lot of people complain. I can understand why people say, oh, Hollywood, oh, blah, blah. But the thing is, the idea of these movies are you're meant to enjoy them, sit down, watch them, and have fun. If you go back and look at the movies that were made back in the old days, you can notice a clear difference from how things have moved forward and stuff like that. And the thing is that if you look at a lot of the characters, and I know that The Last of Us is like a good example of like people shitting on stuff because the character does not look like, stuff. And I feel like I can understand why a lot of people don't like stuff like they're fixated on like this is no, and they're kind of like they get the actress and they kind of just go ham and attack and it kind of sucks. It really sucks because when you look at things for how they are, it sucks because the actress or the person that is playing the character should not be attacked because you feel that the character is not what you specifically want. And I feel like that's the problem, is this era of entitlement nowadays of like why do we get to dictate what a character should or shouldn't be? Why should we, like, things evolve, things change, things mutate and become different. I feel like if you really look at it for how things are, if you look at things in a comic book sense, things are constantly changing. Like I hit my 22 marker, and I've kind of come to this little realization. And the thing is that when you look at it from this angle of a character, this is just a comic book. This is just whatever. And you can have this passion for it and love it and all this stuff. And I feel like that's great, but like keep in mind that you don't get to dictate what the character is or how. Like, the vision of a character can be changed over time and mutated it and stuff like that. We didn't get the proper iconic Iron Man until way later. Like the red and yellow Iron Man, and stuff like that. We didn't get that till way later. And hell, like other stuff, like characters like even in game franchises, can be redesigned and altered and changed a little bit. Like Cammy White from Street Fighter, like Liu Kang from Mortal Kombat, like every fucking Marvel hero. Like in general, no character is going to be one-to-one from the comics. Like the MCU Hulk and stuff like that is drastically different than the comics. And the comics are still fucking around with him. Like even Bucky. Bucky was written as this little sidekick for Captain America and stuff like that. He was like this little boy, and he was like the Robin for Captain America. But then they changed him a little bit. And they actually said, oh, no, we're going to make him a little bit darker. So, like, basically, he has no problems with killing. He was doing the stuff that Captain America couldn't do. Or wouldn't. And, he basically, he was the one that was, killing and doing, stuff as a soldier. And stuff like that. And characters like Jason Todd, like, he was written as, like, Dick Grayson, version 2. But his character and backstory were refined to the point where what we have now, where it's iconic, and it's like, you can't separate it. So it's like, it's one of those things where, oh, ow, fuck. I feel like when you look at things for how they are and looking at the idea of characters and comic books and a bunch of stuff, I personally believe that the landscape and the fandoms are starting to ruin stuff and ruin media for everyone else. Like, they're really starting to just ruin everything. And I feel like that's a topic that really is like, oh, like, how dare he say that fandoms ruin things? We're the consumers. We're fuck off. Fuck off. Fuck off. Like, I'm not sitting there saying you guys have to just blindly consume every product and stuff like that. And I'm certainly not saying that you have to do this or that or whatever. But what I am saying is that there is a level of truth to the idea of fandoms are kind of starting to boil down to just ruining everything when it comes to projects and people. I'll be right back. All right, sorry. But no, I feel like that's the thing about an interpretation of a character that makes it so unique, and why fandoms are kind of ruining that is that I feel like the whole point of any type of comics run or any type of movie or any type of thing is that it's always going to be different and it's always going to be this distinct entity where to some extent it's not going to be perfect or one-to-one with stuff. It's basically its own thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm whatever. I'm just kind of like... I've been thinking about this for a while. And it's like came to mind and like made me think recently. And I feel like, you know, people will probably disagree. They'll probably agree with me. They might not, whatever. But I feel like it's one of those subjects where I feel like it should be talked about. It should be discussed. It should be made into the idea of like, okay, well, maybe there is a point to what he's saying. And it's not just, you know, hating the idea of stuff. Because, like, I feel like the gatekeeping, sometimes the clickbait news. That's the other thing. The division, the toxicity, the bullshit, the absolute bullshit when it comes to the fandoms is a big reason why I personally hate it. Like, I absolutely hate the idea of stuff. And it's everywhere. Like, it's even and it's also in communities. That's another thing. Like, there's this toxic, way, like, everything. And it sucks. It really sucks because it really makes you hate being in stuff, because it's like, it's just there for certain people. Like, you're only allowed to believe, this, or if you say something out of pocket or believe something a little different, I don't know. I'm very opinionated, so what do I know? What do I know? So. Hi. Hello. Sorry, I muted myself for a second because my father was coming in here. He's looking for something. So. But no, I feel like, and this is me, I personally feel like nowadays it's impossible to have civil conversations about subjects. It's impossible to, you want to know more about Sentry? I know a little bit. I've watched a bit about stuff about him from Comics Explained, and I know he's kind of like an overpowered copy of Superman with more abilities and no weaknesses. On the internet, people who can't handle civil, yeah. Well, it's like some people are worse about it than others. It's like you say something out of pocket about, well, that's just your opinion, and like they'll either try to shut you down or they'll deliberately try to get into an argument. And it's one of those things where it's like, it's especially very bad on Twitter. So it's like, it's a big reason why I try not to even respond to anyone unless it's in like a private DM with friends or talking or whatever. But I stay the fuck away from just talking about anything. Yeah, like you and me can have a civil conversation. Yeah, we can have like a civil conversation, disagree, and still be fine. Like even with, I'm that way with my friends too. It's like, you know, sometimes it's fine to like civilly disagree. And we shouldn't have to resort to like childish insults or bullshit to make a point anymore. Like that is such, yeah, Twitter, I don't expect anything. Yeah. Pretty much, yeah. And that's why it sucks. Also, I'm going to try to okay, there we go. I'm going to like have to go in with like weirdly blues and stuff. I'm like adding small dark highlights because he's like called the Void. And there's like different interpretations of the Void with Robert Reynolds and stuff. And I think the one they went with in the movie is the more emotional aspect of the character. Yeah, I'm going to turn this back up, and then I'm going to push blend. No, that's not what I need. I feel like, and I'm only going to be streaming for a little while. I'm going to try to raid into somebody. I personally feel like, and also I am going to be streaming tonight. That is a thing. Plus, people are too sensitive nowadays. That is true. That is why I have the persona of just being a complete and utter asshole. And stuff like that. And I don't really give a shit. So. Never watched it. Never. I was responding to somebody. Hold on. Also, I'm gonna send him. Shoot. And like I said, you're a jackass, but you yeah, true. That's my middle name and I'm just kidding. That's my nature. Show message. Yeah, like I said, you're a jackass and you wouldn't bat an eye. Yeah. That's pretty much me for you. I'm a jackass and I like being a jackass. And if people don't like it, there's the door. trying to think. I'm trying to add in like soft shading. Where I'm kind of like going off of the idea that he is the void. So I'm kind of working within dark blues, purples, stuff like that. And I think, hold on. MCU Fanart The Void. I wonder if people have done anything for him yet. There's like a subreddit one, but that's meh. Ah, there we go. There's a fucking good one. I like that. I might borrow something from that a little bit. Like a spiraling effect or something. Oh, my ears. I've been having some ear problems too. Some inner ear issues that are affecting me. Little sharp pains. Which get on my nerves. Yeah, I saw the form of the void and it scared the shit out of me to get that. But I also, you need to get, yeah, I know. I'm going to. Ear problems. I hate it because my ears are already so sensitive anyways. Also, what I had in mind for the fan art, for the fucking Thunderbolts was Bob would be like, pulling a bit of a legion, and the effect would be like light casting into dark. And then you have the jackasses down here. But also there'd be a silhouette of, what's her name on the side here. So that would be the preferred look that I'm going for. Because this is like the opposite of Alien X, where he cannot have too much color to him. He can't have like a starry background or like access light, which is super annoying. Fuck you, shut up. I did not say such a thing. Shut up. Also, I'm waiting on Michael to finish the edit for the Daredevil video. which I'm hoping he got done. I did a little bit of work on it. I have like a lot of the stuff. I'm just waiting on him to finish it up with footage and shit, which I have to get a bunch of videos done later anyways, because I need to edit some shit, which gets on my nerves. Plus, I'm borrowing a little bit from, I'm also borrowing a little bit of a design aesthetic from Ebon from Static Shock, which was one of my favorite cartoons growing up. So... some similar design principles and using your lights and shadows. Oh. Ugh. Also, for some reason, I did get a notification on my Gmail that somebody followed me on Twitch, but I don't see their, I don't see their shit. Like, it doesn't actually show that, like, so I guess they may be unfollowed, but, like, somebody with the account Chumpkins13, they followed me over on Twitch, which... cool, but weird thing is, I go and try to go to their profile or try to check my shit, and it still says I'm like at 38, so I don't know if it's not completely working or something's like screwed up, because you would think it would go up to like 39 followers, right? Not stay at 38. So that, it makes no sense. And I got that notification sometime this morning, so either they followed and then automatically unfollowed, or they unfollowed after not getting a shout out, which I'm sorry, but I don't always pay attention to stuff. still can't find whatever he was looking for. That's why I muted myself for a minute. Sorry. For some reason, he can't find it. Well, it's not my fault, because I didn't take his shit, so he can fuck up. So, trying to think. I'm trying to get a good idea of how to draw it. Damn it. Like with where it's almost unseeable, so I can go into the lighting, not really lightning, but keeping it really dark, but fading it. Oh shit, my back. Ow. Oh, my back. Oh, it hurts. I'm not gonna be streaming for too long, because I gotta edit some stuff and record. And all things considered, I don't... Son of a bitch. Shut up. No. Trying to figure out how to do his eyes. Fuck.
That's not bad. Needs a little bit more, though. Okay. Also, I am going to say I did see one spoiler that really pissed me off because I like the character and I don't know. Here's my thing. I know that the character wasn't perfect in Black Widow, but like they give her the Batman treatment, which kind of annoys the shit out of me. Just a little bit. And that's Taskmaster. You kill off one of the most coolest characters. For what reason, I have no idea. Why? I knew it! I saw this spoiler at one point and it just pissed me off. Because it's like, why? Why kill off that one out of all the characters you can kill off in that movie? Why kill off that one? They did Taskmaster the wrong way. I know. But I still don't like the idea that they had to kill him off. It's like, you could do something with her. Like, tweak her a little bit. Make her refine her character or do something, but no. Kill her off someone people don't like. You could have done her justice. Come on now. You don't gotta kill her off. I call bullshit. Yeah, we better get a fucking replacement or I'm gonna be pissed. So I'm trying to... They fucking Ghost all what happens with the character is that Ghost shoots her in the goddamn head. That's it. She goes out like a bitch, and I didn't like that. Like, you could have her get stabbed, you could have her you can do something interesting. No, you fucking take her out like a bitch. And it pisses me off. Out of all the characters you can fucking take out and mess around with, you chose to kill off one of my personal favorite characters. Please, like, she wasn't one of them. People like those characters. She wasn't one of them. I don't care. I like Taskmaster. Suck my balls, fucking bastards. She was a freaking cool character, and I feel like they wasted her and screwed her up. Like, Taskmaster is one of those characters that how could you get wrong? And I feel like what happened with fucking Taskmaster was a travesty. Is it even now? Yes. The void. I forget the fucking line art. Where's the fucking line art? There it is. I'm starting with like a white so I can fix shit with shading. And I might work on the rest of this off stream and turn it into an art short. How and why, I don't know. The Red Guardian, yes, that was another one. Well, I'm gonna do 2 raids. Do one right now, and I'm gonna do the other in a bit. Unknown user today. Hold on, activation feed. An unknown user follows you. Yes, I saw that, but it did not genuinely. I guess they had to unfollow because it did not, for some reason, want to be at work. So I'm giving somebody a raid, and I'm also going to, after that's done, give somebody else a raid, and then I think I'm going to be finishing up, and I'm going to be streaming later on tonight, when I have the time. And that's at least on the Twitch front. Can't really raid anyone else's stream on the YouTube front. So there's that. I do plan on doing a complete art stream on only Twitch tomorrow when I have the time, because that's going to be pretty interesting. It'll probably be at nighttime. that is not what I wanted to. Okay, I screwed up the line work up here. They got a raid, and then oh shoot, oh crap. Okay, and then I want to give Queenie a raid, and then I am going to in the stream cookies. No cookies for you. No cookies. But I am gonna try to work. I'm gonna try to get some stuff on for videos done, and all that today. Probably work on this little project off stream and private, and try to figure out some stuff with it. I'm trying to get the line art figured out. And all that. So, yeah. Really appreciate you stopping by, man. It has been really fun. And all that stuff. And peace out. Bye-bye.